Hey guys, this is the lock from Mr. MRESURM, and this is the one that he calls a WildAss Keyway, and I think I can understand why. I showed this in an earlier video, saying I have to be a gymnast in order to get in there. And in fact, let me just lock it up here real quick. In fact, I tried to get in there using a Peterson gem, the 15,000th, but the hook wasn't deep enough because I needed to reach in there and I couldn't get around the warding. It just wouldn't reach without setting the pins that are earlier in the stack. Here's the key, and this is why I was running into trouble. It just couldn't set some of the deeper pins without disturbing the earlier pins. So that caused an issue for me. Anyway, it does work. Naturally, they're all high set pins, which makes it extra hard to get around that warding. So I got to thinking about it after many failures of picking this. I have not yet successfully done it. And so I made a pick, and I made this one out of a very thin, I think it's 12,000th material, really flexy. So if I have to, it can bend and go around the warding. This is obviously the key that has to accommodate all the warding. Come on, focus, baby. There we go. Well, when I put the pick in, my logic was each of those pins has to have a chamber drilled for it through the warding, all the way from top to bottom. And if I made a pick that could fit along the bottom of the keyway and a steep enough angle, this is literally like a super postal hook kind of thing, this one will fit in the keyway, just barely scrapes through there, and I can reach in and hopefully I can set those very high pins, even the ones in the back. Now here's something else interesting about this lock. The key shows 5 pins, but when we look at the lock itself and we line everything up, you can see that it lines up with 5 of the pins, but there's a 6th pin hole. And there may be a 6th pin. I honestly can't tell because the feel inside of here is very restricted, very difficult. So there may be a 6th pin that's being pushed by the slope of the beginning of the front of the key there. I just can't tell. So let's just assume that it does have 6. And I'm just going to go all the way to the back and start working my way forward. Okay, the other problem I ran into, let me zoom just a hair here. In addition to the wild warding, is getting tension. I would love to tension from the bottom. There's plenty of room for it, but if I do that, then obviously I can't get the pick in there. So I had to come up with a very thin tension to literally fit between these pieces of warding. And to do that, I just took a Peterson serrated tension wrench. I don't know if that's going to focus or not. A very thin material, and I bent it, and then I can kind of slide it between that warding and get it in there. And there we go. So a couple of challenges here. Okay, I do know from having played with this earlier, this is actually my second pick. The first one I bent it and it was actually broke it, not usable. So I learned that there are some kind of security pins in here. There's not a lot of feedback. So I'm just going to be quiet so I can feel what little there is. I think I broke that earlier pick by trying to set a piece of warding, which doesn't seem to work out too well for me. You'll notice my tension is incredibly light. I'm just barely resting my finger on there. I tried using heavy tension, but whatever kind of security pins are in here, as soon as you apply heavy tension, everything seizes up. As soon as you apply moderate tension, everything seizes up. So you got to keep a careful balance between keeping everything set and then letting everything fall. So and you'll hear it. I've dropped a lot of pins already because I lightened up too much. I don't know what Eric has put in here, but it's not user friendly. That I can tell you. The pick seems to be reaching. At least I'm setting some of them up. So that's the right path, I guess. The disadvantage, of course, with using very thin material is I can't. There we go. Oh my God. All right. Okay, Eric, there you go. Your jinky ass keyway is open. I would like to gut this. I don't have permission from Eric to do it. Eric, if I'll just drop you a message to see if we can gut this thing. I think I'd really like to see what you've put inside of here. But anyway, there you go. Whoever gets this next, I'm going to give you my pick, the 12,000th pick, so you can get a shot at it. And I'm going to go ahead and throw in this tension wrench as well, so you don't have to make one of your own. Alright, Eric did give me permission to take a look and see what's inside of this thing, which I was kind of afraid to do because he might have put something really wild inside of there and I might not have been able to get it back in. But let's go ahead and take a look. I am curious. So let's first see if we can't take this clip off, which I always end up getting injured when I do this. Let's try it this way. That worked out better than I could have hoped. Okay, move that out of here. Maybe too big. That's about right. All right, let's put the key in it. Turn it. And oops, we put that in the center there so you guys can see. Alright, it is only 5 pins. If we can get that to focus. So there was some question about whether it was 5 or 6 because the shell shows 6 pins and then the key showed only 5 pins, and of course that's really all there are, 5. And I honestly didn't know that until I don't know if you can see this. I just noticed the light reflected off of the. So we got counter milling on looks like 4 of the 5 chambers. And let me get the pinning board over here and dump these out. Okay, looks like all standard key pins. And let's see what's inside of here, guys. Get my tweezers. Oh, I already popped one. Well, there you go. That's why we're getting all that crunching in the micro sets. Two's the same. Looks like 3's the same. 4's the same. And 5 looks to be the same. I'm not going to take the springs out of there. So there's what we're looking at in the jinky lock. I think the biggest challenge from this thing is getting access to the individual keyways. If you can pick a spool, I think you can probably pick these double spools or barrels or whatever you want to call them here. They're not quite barrels, but they're close. But I think that's the secret, is using a very thin pick and using top of the tension keyway if you can find one that'll fit inside of there. As I said, I'll pass these along to whoever gets this lock next. All right, anyway, thank you for your time. Everybody stay safe, stay legal.